There's a saying in the world of economics: where is the smart money? In other words, what's the best strategy when it comes to finances? Bulgarians are trying to figure that out. Thousands hit the streets on Saturday, urging the government to scrap plans to adopt the euro. They're worried it will push up inflation, increase poverty, and cause economic uncertainty.
Bulgaria might have increased its minimum wage this year to €286 per month, but it still offers the lowest wage out of all European Union states.
Did you know 74% of young Bulgarians want to leave the country? That's almost 3 out of 4 people ready to pack up and go. And it's not hard to see why. On the surface, Bulgaria might seem like Europe's affordable gem, but in reality, it's the EU's poorest country, crushed by low wages, rising inequality, and politics nobody trusts. For millions, the dream of a better life feels out of reach. So what went wrong? Let's break it down. Back in the late 1980s, almost 9 million people lived here. Today, that number's dropped to around 6.4 million. That's a drop of more than 2 million people, and it's not stopping. By 2050, it could be down to just 5.4 million. That's the fastest population drop anywhere in the world.
The small town of 5,000 people has almost reduced by half in recent years. So Petronov relies on workers from Nepal, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan to run his business.
Often we see foreigners come here to live, so why are people leaving? There is no prospect for development. The educational system is really lacking and young people go abroad to study and they don't return. They just get good jobs in the West.
But here's the thing, it isn't just a number on a graph. It's something Bulgarians feel every single day. Entire villages have emptied out. Schools closed because there aren't enough kids to fill classrooms. Local hospitals shut down because there aren't enough patients or enough doctors left to treat them. Even basic services like bus routes disappear when there aren't enough passengers to justify them. And the people who are left? They're getting older. Bulgaria is quickly becoming one of Europe's fastest aging societies. That means fewer people in the workforce to pay taxes, and more elderly citizens relying on pensions and health care that are already stretched to the limit. For young Bulgarians, it feels like a no-win situation. Stay, and you're stuck with low wages and limited opportunities. Leave, and you join the growing exodus to Germany, Spain, or the UK, where better pay and stability seem possible. No wonder surveys show nearly 3 out of 4 young Bulgarians are thinking about leaving. And here's the harsh truth. The more people leave, the harder life gets for those who remain. Fewer jobs, fewer services, higher costs. The feeling that your country is slowly fading away. This isn't just population decline, it's a vicious cycle that makes everyday life in Bulgaria harder and harder.
Thousands of people took to the streets in Bulgaria on Saturday, calling on the government to preserve the country's national currency and not enter the Eurozone. Marches were held in the capital Sofia and several other cities. They were organised by the ultra-nationalist Revival Party and several NGOs, who believe that if Bulgaria enters the Eurozone, prices will rise and the country's economic sovereignty will be limited.
So Bulgaria's population is shrinking faster than anywhere else in the world. But why are so many people packing up and leaving? It's not just about opportunities, it's about surviving. Life here is getting painfully expensive, and people are being pushed to the breaking point. Let's start with the basics: food, electricity, transport. Inflation in July 2025 was about 5.3% year on year. That might not sound huge, especially compared to the crazy double digits in 2022. But here's the thing, when wages are low, even a small price jump hits hard, every single percentage point. Take electricity bills, for example. Back in January, power prices jumped by almost 8.5%. For families already living on the edge, that's not just annoying. It means you're cutting back on things like dinner, school supplies, or even medicine. Now, the government did raise the minimum wage this year from 933 leva to 1,077 leva a month, a 15% increase. Sounds like progress, right? But here's the catch. That's about 550 euros. And with that raise, Bulgaria still has the lowest minimum wage in the entire European Union, barely half of Romania's 1,200 euros, and far below Poland's 1,700 euros. And when the cost of living keeps climbing, that 550 euros doesn't stretch nearly far enough. And that's Sofia we're talking about, the capital where jobs and side hustles exist. Move out to smaller towns or rural villages, and the picture gets darker. Prices go up just the same, but opportunities don't. No factories hiring, no big offices, not even steady tourism to fall back on. People scrape by with seasonal work, remittances from relatives abroad, or informal jobs that barely cover the basics. If life is already tough with low wages, shrinking towns, and struggling hospitals, corruption only makes it worse. From small bribes at local offices to massive scandals involving top ministers, corruption has poisoned trust in Bulgaria. In fact, Transparency International ranked Bulgaria 72nd out of 180 countries in 2024, the lowest in the entire EU. That's a pretty bleak place to be. So what does that mean for everyday people? Roads stay broken, schools and hospitals stay underfunded, and those EU funds that are supposed to help communities mismanaged. The European Court of Auditors even reported that billions in EU funding are either delayed or misused. That means vital projects get left unfinished. It's like the system's built to hold people back. Trying to start a business or find a fair job can feel impossible. You can work hard, pay your taxes, and still feel like the system is stacked against you, but it doesn't end there. Political instability only makes it worse. Between 2021 and 2024, Bulgaria had 5 different governments. Yeah, 5. Fragile coalitions and constant elections mean that real reforms, better infrastructure, better healthcare, more jobs never get anywhere. The plans are always stuck in limbo, while politicians argue over the basics. So, while families are struggling to get by, cities are overcrowded, and rural areas are shrinking, the people in charge can't even get things done. It's like a never-ending cycle of problems, and there's no solution in sight. That frustration, it just builds up, making everything feel hopeless. And here's where the crisis hits hardest. Rural Bulgaria. Sofia and Plovdiv, they're bustling, modern, full of cafes, offices, and shopping malls. But drive just 2 hours outside of these cities, and you enter a completely different world. Crumbling roads, unreliable buses, and local services that barely function. Schools, tiny or closing down. Hospitals, underfunded and struggling to stay open. Jobs, scarce. For a lot of rural families, life feels like it's stuck in another century. Take a pensioner living in rural Bulgaria. They're barely scraping by on a tiny pension, and with inflation climbing, they can't afford the basics, groceries, heating, or even their medical bills. And that's if there's even a hospital nearby, which there often isn't, because hospitals in the countryside have shut down, and the ones left are overcrowded. The equipment, old, the staff, stretched thin. Waiting times for even basic treatments, like scans or surgeries, can stretch for weeks. You've got thousands of doctors and nurses leaving Bulgaria every year for better pay abroad. Between 2020 and 2024, around 8,000 medical professionals packed up and left. For the elderly, kids, or anyone outside the city, even a simple trip to the doctor can take a whole day. And if it's something minor, it can turn serious real quick. And this is the kicker. Even in Sofia, long waits and patchy care are just part of life. It's like everyone's just getting by instead of getting the care they actually need. But here's the thing, it's not just about frustration, it's all connected. Every problem feeds into the next, creating this cycle that keeps pulling the country down. Fewer people means fewer workers, which weakens the economy, which drives even more people to leave. Rising prices? They make life harder for everyone. And as everyday struggles pile up, trust in the government just collapses. For many Bulgarians, it's not just that life is hard, it's that the system itself feels like it's working against them, dragging the country down even further. But here's the twist. It's not all hopeless. There are real opportunities for change. One of the biggest moves on the horizon, adopting the euro. It could stabilize inflation and bring a bit more Predictability to households and businesses. Sure, it won't happen overnight, but it could be a step in the right direction. Then there's EU investment. Billions of euros are flowing into infrastructure, digital transformation, and modernization projects. Better roads, faster internet, and new tech hubs could create opportunities, especially for younger Bulgarians who are thinking about staying. And let's not forget Bulgaria's strategic location. Sitting right between Europe and Asia, it's perfectly positioned for export-driven businesses. IT services, logistics, even organic agriculture. If Bulgaria takes the right steps, these industries could thrive. So yeah, Bulgaria is facing some major challenges: shrinking population, rising costs, political instability, but here's the key. The future isn't doomed. With the right decisions and investments, Bulgaria has a real shot at turning things around. Every choice today will shape whether the next generation sees opportunity or just another reason to pack up and go. The question is, will it act fast enough to keep the next generation from leaving? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more.